For many Americans, the excitement over this weekend's unofficial start of summer is mixed with fears of that Zika virus. So far, more than 500 people living within the 50 states have contracted Zika while traveling overseas or by having sex with someone who did. Now, that includes 157 pregnant women who now may have the virus. And the numbers only grow when you add U.S. territories to the list.
Then 150 scientists on Friday called for the cancellation or delay of the Olympic Games, saying the risk of infection from the Zika virus is too high. The scientists, many of them bioethicists, signed an open letter to WHO Director General Margaret Chan. The letter urged that the Games, due to be held in Rio de Janeiro in August, be moved to another location or delayed. In response, WHO said on Saturday that based on the current assessment of the Zika virus, there is no public health justification for postponing or canceling the Games.
Researchers announcing that a long-dreaded superbug has appeared in the United States for the first time ever. And in a disturbing development, the head of the CDC says that its arrival could spell the end of antibiotics. Pretty stunning stuff. Laura Ingle is live in our New York City newsroom on this. So what are they saying about all this, Laura? What does it mean?
Yeah, hi, Martha. Well, it is what doctors across the United States have been dreading for years, that a bacteria would emerge that they wouldn't be able to fight, even with what they call the antibiotic of last resort. So yesterday, health officials said a 49-year-old woman in Pennsylvania is the first reported case with an antibiotic-resistant strain of E. coli. So the woman went to a clinic with symptoms of a urinary tract infection, and the bacteria was found in her urine. The patient reported no travel history in the last 5 months, making this case all the more concerning.
Turning overseas, about 100 migrants are missing in the Mediterranean off Libya. Their boat capsized during the perilous journey from North Africa to a better life in Europe. More than 6,000 have been rescued since Monday, 40,000 this year. Seth Doan reports tonight from Rome.
Overcrowded and top-heavy, the wooden fishing boat packed with migrants tipped over, sending hundreds plunging into the sea off the coast of Libya. Some tried to swim. Others appeared to be swallowed up by the boat as it capsized. Rescuers on the Italian Navy patrol vessel Betico worked quickly to save more than 500. The Italian Navy brought the rescued migrants and refugees into port today in Sicily. As the weather improves, thousands more are making this dangerous journey. Amid so much tragedy, there was a very different but still incredible picture. A baby was born on another migrant rescue boat.
Aid groups say the number of unaccompanied minors making the journey to Europe is on the rise this year.
A lot of uneasiness about the resettlement program that the president is trying to accomplish here, accepting about 10,000, as he said, by the end of the year. And he's gotten frustrated that the officials who are responsible for processing them, making sure that we're not admitting people who may be bent on attacking us, that they're taking too long. And so he's told the agencies to pull out the stops and, increase the pace of resettlement, even though a lot of communities are starting to resist and, been expressed great concern about how many are coming and whether or not, who they are, whether or not they're going to be a problem. Even his top Homeland Security officials have said that we simply don't have the ability, no information, no intelligence, no contacts to know that the people who are coming in from Syria are going to be okay, to not pose a threat. But the president is, kind of brushed away those concerns and said, it doesn't matter. I want us to admit as many as possible. And it seems like he's trying to get as many of them admitted as he can before the buzzer sounds on the end of his administration.
A coalition of states is suing over a controversial White House directive on transgender rights. Texas leads the lawsuit involving 10 other states. They oppose the federal order telling public schools to let transgender students use a bathroom that matches their gender identity. Jan Crawford is covering the case that could end up at the Supreme Court. Jan, good morning.
Good morning, Nora. So schools that don't comply with the Obama administration's directive could risk losing their federal funding. Many of the states involved in the suit have conservative leaders. They have previously vowed to defy this directive. They're calling it a threat to student safety.
By forcing through his policies by executive action, President Obama has excluded the voice of the people.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton came out swinging against the White House.
Simply put, the Obama administration is creating new law outside the bounds of the Constitution, making the kind of changes only Congress can make.
The suit accuses the administration of conspiring to turn schools and workplaces into laboratories for a massive social experiment. The 10 other states that have joined Texas in the legal fight include Alabama, Utah, and West Virginia.
We think this is an open and shut case in terms of the law, and we look forward to litigating against the federal government.
$15 an hour means a whole lot to me because it will release some of the stress that I have going on being a single mom and working in this job and working each and every day. And when I open up my checks for the week, it's like what I'm working for. $5 an hour at Sonic, that is not enough money for me to support my family like I need to. When my rent is $623 and my utility is $123, my gas is $85. When you get through doing the math and bills, that's almost $1,500. And I don't even make that in a month. We're not going to stop. It's whatever it takes. Rain, sleet, snow. We're going to stay out here until McDonald's give us $15 in the union.
As thousands of low-wage workers plan to protest McDonald's annual shareholder meeting in Chicago on Thursday, the company's former CEO has warned them that if the minimum wage goes up, the fast food giant is likely to replace them with robots.
It's cheaper to buy a $35,000 robotic arm than it is to hire an employee who's inefficient, making $15 an hour, bagging French fries. It's nonsense, and it's very destructive. It's inflationary, and it's going to cause a job loss across this country like you're not going to believe.
That was former McDonald's USA CEO Ed Renzi warning protesters, hey, you better be careful what you wish for.
We were warned if companies were to be forced to raise their minimum wage and nationally, jobs would be lost. Well, this morning, that's sadly exactly what is happening. Wendy's implementing self-service kiosks.
The host of Varney and Company on the Fox Business Network, Stuart Varney, has that story. Good morning.
6,000 self-serve kiosks will be opened in Wendy's. That is automation taking jobs off the marketplace, and it's the direct result largely of this push towards a $12 to $15 per hour minimum wage. They want a living wage for everybody who has a job. They're ignoring those youngsters who get in at an entry-level position at a lower wage to figure out what's going on in the economy. They're destroying jobs, and in particular, they're destroying entry-level jobs. That's what's really upsetting about this.
So you're saying some 17-year-old or 16-year-old is not going to get $15 an hour by a company looking to make ends meet?
Right, because that job will be automated away. I was in an airport the other day, and they've got an operation there, 65 seats in a restaurant with 3 runners. You walk up, take your seat, you punch your order into a tablet, the order goes to the kitchen, and a runner delivers the food from the kitchen to you. Wait staff cut in half. Those are entry-level jobs which will never appear again, and that's because of the $15 an hour push. That's what's going on.
Look at this. Sally, the salad robot. This is a prototype of what will be available by the end of the year. Basically works like a vending machine, dispenses salad ingredients. That's what happens, I guess, when you get $15 an hour in McDonald's, or if you like it to.
That's exactly right. We have a French fry robot, a donut robot, and now a salad robot. Here's the issue. Numerous complaints about fast food workers not washing their hands. Maybe 1 out of 5, maybe half don't wash their hands. So the people are worried about contaminated food. 1 in 10 errors in the food ordering by regular human beings doing the orders. So people are saying, wait a second, robots could be cleaner and they could get your order correct.
They also have a coffee dispenser where you have no interface with human beings.
Yeah.
Walk up to the machine, swipe your card, put your card, and out.
Yes.
No interface with people whatsoever.
That's right.
No $15 an hour person.
An order-taking robot as well. It's called an iPad, where you just enter your order yourself.
I've got more on these robots. The Apple and Samsung supplier, Foxconn, huge company, they are replacing 60,000 workers with automation. I mean, robots are taking over there.
Yeah, this is striking. News reports that Apple and Samsung, they would cut their employee headcount by more than half, down to 50,000 from 110,000. So this is the action that has to be picked up by the other reporters out there in the media and the unions. Basically, the robot revolution has been upon us.
Hi, Peppa. I'm hungry.
Hello. Delighted to have you in MasterCard Cafe. I'm at your service. Please pair with your MasterPass wallet and start ordering. Nice to meet you, Veronica. What would you like to order?
Can I have a beef burger?
Sure.
2 fries?
Regular or large?
Large.
All right. Anything else?
Orange juice.
Sure.
That's all.
Great. We have a promotion today. You get 1 cheesecake for $2. Would you like to add it?
How many calories?
Each cheesecake contains 90 calories, 3 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of protein. Would you like to have it?
Okay, I'll have it.
Great. The total amount is $23.50. It will be charged to your card ending 9372. Please say approved to authorize the transaction.
Approved.
Cool. I am processing your transaction now. Your transaction is completed. Please collect your meal at the counter. Enjoy.
Thanks, Peppa.
Program anti-austerity anger is simmering in several European countries, with people growing more impatient with economic policies of their governments. Protests are regular occurrences across major European cities, and in the latest show of public anger, the streets of Rome and Madrid had become the scene of massive rallies. Let's have a look.
Thousands of Italians have marched in the capital, Rome, to protest the government's proposed housing policies and education cuts, as well as the austerity measures imposed by the European Union. Some of the protesters carried banners reading, "Renzi's government is triggering a war on the poor." The demonstrators were heading to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but were blocked by the riot police. Anti-austerity demonstrations have not been limited to Italy. In Spain's capital, thousands of people from various political groups and unions have taken part in a rally dubbed March of Dignity. The protesters in Madrid voiced their anger at the government's economic policies, demanding an end to austerity measures that have triggered cuts to education and healthcare. Years of austerity measures and high unemployment in European countries have frustrated citizens, particularly the young generation. Experts believe that austerity is only a quick fix and cannot prop up the economy in the long run. Nevertheless, many European governments, from France and the UK to Belgium and Spain, continue to exercise the policy. This comes at a time when Europe is struggling to cope with an unprecedented influx of asylum seekers. Some analysts are warning that continuation of the current trend and the European government's failure to meet the demands of the people may even put the European Union at risk of falling apart.
In Belgium, a big anti-austerity rally turned violent. In France, strikes over labor laws led to widespread gas shortages.
Once protesters in Brussels began throwing objects, police deployed water cannons to disperse the crowd. The clashes between a few violent protesters and police came at the end of what was a huge peaceful march. Around 50,000 Belgians took to the streets.
We're protesting because it's always from the same purses that they come to find money.
They said they wanted to send a message to Belgian Prime Minister Charles Michel that his center-right government has cost working-class families more than $100 a month, while extra jobs haven't materialized.
I cannot accept these policies which privilege the rich to the detriment of the majority of the population, police who do not look towards the future. We are facing environmental and social problems which are more and more important.
In neighboring France, workers went on strike at all 8 of the country's oil refineries.
French drivers are hunting for gasoline and waiting in long lines to get it because of strikes and blockades at the nation's fuel refineries. The government has had to cut fuel reserves to deal with gasoline shortages caused by strikes and protest over a bill that would trim employment protections. This driver says from last night until 1 o'clock in the morning, I searched with my wife for a gas station and all were empty or closed. This driver says the French people are totally taken hostage. Bernie Sanders supporters need to pay attention to this crisis because the French government is trying to escape from the kind of socialism that Sanders wants to bring to America.
Welcome back now, a Fox Business exclusive. As the economy worsens in Venezuela, harrowing scenes unfolding. Elizabeth McDonald is here now. She's got exclusive new video that shows just how bad things have gotten. And Liz, warning viewers, this video is very graphic.
Yeah, it's graphic and disturbing. And, you know, the message from people on the ground in Venezuela, this is a quote, "This is Bernie Sanders socialism. This is what happens. This is what Bernie Sanders would want for America." That's a direct quote from people on the ground. So right here, you're seeing middle class and regular people just pulling over to join in the ambush and looting of a grocery truck. This happened on the highway to Puerto Ordaz, which is where the country's biggest oil reserve and steel company is. This is a disturbing footage. Graphic warning here. You're watching right now, the people on camera are saying they're ripping through garbage bags outside restaurants and shopping malls. And they're starving. People here are eating dog food. Basically, the middle class has been demolished in Venezuela. 90% tax rate on entrepreneurs.
People in Venezuela now have to use their fingerprints to get food. The move to biometric scanners has become a reality, even though the effort began a few years ago by President Nicolas Maduro. It is being called fingerprints for food by the socialist government, as reported by the Miami Herald. With it, people can only get minimal goods, medicine, and supplies from the state-owned grocery stores. Maduro said fingerprinting was necessary to prevent hoarding and to keep price-controlled food from being resold for profit. Consumers must also show ID. For years, Venezuela has been short on food, which has been made worse from the global oil glut, since they depend heavily on oil revenue along with other socialist Latin American countries.
After a Wisconsin manufacturer fired 7 Muslim employees for violating a company break policy that doesn't provide extra time for prayer, a civil liberties group says it plans to file federal discrimination and harassment complaints. Council for American Islamic Relations spokesman Jailani Hussein said that while the company could have made accommodations, it chose not to.
The UK government has launched an investigation into whether women are suffering from Sharia law practices in the country. The Home Secretary Theresa May is heading the inquiry.
A number of women have reportedly been victims of what appear to be discriminatory decisions taken by Sharia councils. There's only one rule of law in the country which provides rights and security for every citizen.
The legal system, which is based on the Quran, is used to settle family and financial issues within Muslim communities. There are now 85 Sharia courts in the UK, but some critics fear the country is actually developing a dual justice system. And earlier, my colleague Neil Harvey discussed the issue with Mohammed Shafiq of the Ramadan Foundation and human rights activist Mariam Namazi. They do take rather different views on this issue.
This comes in a climate of Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hatred, which is perpetuated by the politicians and people in the media and other commentators, which demonize Muslims and demonize our way of life.
Mariam, what's your response to what you've just heard?
Well, I mean, I think an inquiry is very necessary. It's too late, actually, for an inquiry. Not all Muslims want Sharia law. There are many people fighting it. In fact, in the coalition that I belong to, One Law for All, there are many Muslims and Muslim groups also fighting with us against all sorts of religious arbitration. So it's not
a group of
society
ex-Muslims is not an authoritative voice on this issue.
Well, no, we are ex-Muslims, of course, just like you're a man and you're speaking about women's rights issues.
Islam.
And you're talking
really
about
need to just get a life.
Equality.
Let's have a debate about discriminatory elements, allegations around those issues. But let's be clear, these people are not friends of the Muslim community. They're not friends of the Muslim women who are subjected to the allegations of these sort of crimes. In the end,
I work with actually.
Law. It's the British
I actually
rule of
work
law,
with lots of
that's what we are committed to. What I'm committed to is the British rule of law, and the very last.
You're promoting Sharia law under the guise of.
I'm promoting.
I do apologise, guys. I'm afraid that we have run out of time now. I'm afraid we are going to have to wrap up this debate.
This is the biggest, this is unprecedented. It's never been seen in these numbers.
I can't open the windows, can't use the clothesline. It's just, I can't study because the noise just goes constantly, can't concentrate. It's not fun.
Now in Selma, Alabama, a tragic end for a mother of two. 29-year-old Kaylin Rowland attacked by fire ants while sitting on a haystack. The bugs commonly found in the south. Her family says she had an immediate allergic reaction to the bites. Medics say an EpiPen may have saved her.
Lightning strikes kill a man and injure dozens more people as summer storms hit across Europe. Media reports say the deceased man was hit in southern Poland. In Germany, more than 30 people were taken to hospital after lightning struck the pitch at the end of a children's football match in the village of Hauptstaden. Nearly a dozen people, mostly children, were also injured as lightning hit a birthday party in the French capital, Paris. 6 of the victims were reportedly in serious conditions. Eyewitnesses say the violent storm was sudden and unpredictable.
And a big mess in the Italian city of Florence this morning, where a 600-foot sinkhole opened up. Look at that, swallowing all these cars, 20 of them in total. But thankfully, nobody was injured.
It's fixing to barrel that house. Yeah, just hold up. Pieces of the house are flying apart.
The dynamic, ever-changing fire and ice Etna, and today it is erupting from the central crater. It's magnificent.
A lot of people want to be sacrificed up here, so it's time to go.
Milena, los dos eran de Canal 4.
Ya que no, ya lo vamos a replegar aquí el 2.
The outgoing UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is planning to visit Israel and the Palestinian Authority in late June, in what might be his last trip to the region before his term expires. The UN chief will finish working at the UN on December 31st. And the UN's top Middle East envoy says that his visit will come as Palestinians are growing more desperate to reach a peace deal.
The Arab countries agreed to support the French initiative in the upcoming Paris Peace Summit. The initiative calls for a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders. Jerusalem will be the capital and a deadline will be placed to implement the peace deal. Israel, however, prefers direct talks with the Palestinians rather than a Paris summit. But Palestine's Mahmoud Abbas branded direct talks as a waste of time.
And now we talk about the French initiative, which will be held on the 3rd of the coming month. And I want to emphasize some of the understandings or some of our positions which we've announced in regards to this initiative. Firstly, in regards to its purpose must be to implement the visions of both states based on the border agreement of 1967 and the capital of the Palestinian state being Eastern Jerusalem, so that both countries can live side by side in safety, stability and peace if Israel wishes to seek peace.
The Arab countries announced they will soon increase efforts with the international community. They want to press Israel to adhere to the UN resolutions and to guarantee the implementation of signed agreements.